Watch your step. You say, leading your brother through your former home. I would if I could, he sighs, taking it to make a joke of the situation. Your heart is heavy for Hiro. After the fire burned his corners and stole his sight from him, he's been trying to hide it from his subjects. He wants everything but to be known as the blind king. Your Majesty. The guard bows, addressing your brother as you pass with him. You smile at the title. You've been visiting your brother's coronation that took 2 days ago. He is now officially King Mizukai. The new one, not the old one. But he'll always be Hiro to you. He'll always be your hero. You try to tell him this as much as you can. Very few things make him happy these days, but honestly, you worry for him. He's been fairly surprisingly well since he lost his sight after the fire. Nobody outside of the palace knows of his disability, except for the Todoroki kingdom. Not even his subjects know. I don't want them to think I'm weak. You remember him telling you. You remember crying together, grieving over the past. Whenever you looked into his gaze, over his eyes, you try to remember yourself that it's not your fault, but you could have done something. Now he's gotten better, and you've been helping him search for a guide dog since you'll be leaving soon. You're going to return to the palace tomorrow, so you've been spending as much time as you can with him. Shoto went home a day before you did, saying that he didn't want to intrude on your sibling time. You have a feeling he didn't get much when he was a kid. Okay, Hiro, you say triumphantly, these dogs have all been specifically trained for you. Now, you just have to pick one. You led your brother to the courtyard, since a line of dogs sits in waiting. The dog's trainer bows when Hiro walks in. Your Majesty? He hums, petting one of the dogs. I hope you can find a good partner for yourself. The trainer has an accent, one you can't place. If he trains his dogs as well as he keeps his hair, then you're sure this will go well. Hiro kneels, giving a short whistle. The 4 dogs chosen walk up to him, sniffing the king as he pets their heads. Can you tell me their breeds and genders, please? Hiro asks, not looking up from the ground. The trainer smiles, as if waiting for his whole life for this very moment. This one, he says, placing a hand on Hiro's, which is resting on a brown pup. Oh my god, give me a moment. I have never, ever heard this dog breed. It is a Chesapeake Bay Retriever. I think I said Chesapeake Bay really correctly. His name is Bud. Bud licks Hiro's hand, which makes your brother smile. And this one, he says, placing his hand on the black and brown dog. That's Tashi, the trainer explains. He's a German Shepherd. And they go on like that until Hiro pets the last dog, a pure white one with a blue and brown eye. This one, he says, petting it. This is our little shining star, the trainer says. She's a mutt. We're not sure where she came from, but she just is so smart we couldn't turn her down. Her name? Her name? The trainer looks up. Is Kuruen. Kuruen was given her own special bed next to Hiro's, and as the two get to know each other, you prepare to head back home. You walk through the halls of the Mizuka Palace. It's the same as you remember. It's always been. You want to tear down the picture of your father. They seem to have somewhere since he's dead. Really, it's not his death that bothers you the most, but how he's dead. He was murdered. 2 guards stood outside his tent when he was killed. Say they were paralyzed. Obviously a work of a quirk. People have started referring to King Mizukai's death as the King Killer. You shudder. And take one last look in the mirror before you leave your old room. You take one last look at your previous life, vowing to never go back to the girl you were back then, a child, easily manipulated. Now, you are going to become a queen. After saying goodbye to Hiro and returning to the Todoroki Palace, the first thing you do is flop into your bed. You let the silk sheets envelop your body, sighing. The new room is completely different from the old one, and maybe you're grateful for that. The palace is also completely different. if you could even consider it a palace. It was smaller than the last one that burnt, but the southern territory was perfect for the change. It's more private than the former palace was, and now that the royals have moved here, so have the villagers, and so they've been starting to call territory, I'm going to butcher the name, but Hajimeri. A fitting name, really. Your daydreaming is interrupted by a knock on the door, and for a second, you're back in your old room, waiting for Takashi to escort you to dinner. But you're snapped back into reality when the door opens to reveal your new guard. Your Highness, he says, tipping his hat. The prince is here. You stand as he opens the door wider, and there stands Shoto. You run up and hug him, your heart swelling with warmth. How's Hiro? He asks, giving you a peck on the cheek. He's picked out a dog, and thankfully wasn't too stubborn. You say, taking Shoto's hand and leaning into the hall, I think he'll be okay. How's he standing? Shoto starts. The thing? Oh, you blink, knowing he means your father's murder. He's been fine, I guess. He was especially happy since his betrothal was canceled. Apparently the bride-to-be backed out when Mizukai was murdered. That's good, I suppose. Shoto hums an acknowledgement, but I have even better news. You smile. What is it? Shoto leans down to your ear, whispering, a smile on his lips. Takashi's awake.